In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and yet some horrors move through the galaxy in silence. Among the countless nightmare visions of the Imperium of man, none strike quite the same chord of dread as the black ships. For millennia, they have prowled the void like silent predators, their obsidian hulls swallowing the light of distant stars. Worlds tremble when their shadow falls across the sky, for every man, woman, and child knows what their arrival means. They come for the psykers, those rare and cursed souls whose minds shine like beacons in the warp, attracting both the hungry predators of the Imperium and the unblinking gaze of the Emperor himself. Parents hide their gifted children, hives descend into panic, and entire planetary populations shudder as these colossal vessels descend to claim their tithe of souls. But there came a time when even the terror of the black ships met an equal, a force so legendary, so mythic, that it challenged the very narrative surrounding these spectral harvesters. That force was the Adeptus Astartes, the Emperor's own angels of death. When the gene-forged space marines stepped across the threshold of those dreaded decks, the Imperium's collective imagination shifted forever. The meeting of the Emperor's chosen warriors and the Emperor's silent soul reapers was more than a simple collaboration. It became a moment that forced the galaxy to reconsider what the black ships truly represented. To understand why this encounter mattered, you must first grasp what the black ships truly are. Official records speak of them as vessels of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, tasked with gathering psykers from every corner of the Imperium to sustain the Golden Throne and keep the Astronomicon burning. But the truth is darker. Inside their sealed holds, thousands of souls are kept in psychic stasis, their screams muffled by layers of adamantium and wards of hexagrammic steel. Many will never set foot on Terra. Most will be drained of their life force, their minds extinguished to feed the Emperor's endless hunger, or sacrificed to maintain the delicate web of Imperial psychic infrastructure. To witness a black ship in orbit is to know that your world has been judged, and that some of your people will never return. For centuries, these ships operated in almost total secrecy. The common citizen feared them as monsters of the void. The Inquisition supported the mystery, cultivating terror to ensure compliance. Rumors flourished, entire hives disappearing, psykers driven mad in chains, demonic experiments echoing in the dark. Whether true or not, the legends only grew. And then came the Astartes. The earliest encounters between space marines and the black ships are shrouded in the fog of the Great Crusade and the tumult of the Horus Heresy. There are scattered reports of legions encountering psyker harvesting convoys, sometimes offering escort through hostile space, sometimes demanding to know why so many souls were taken. To the Astartes, bred for war and trained to face the warp's terrors, secrecy was not a language they accepted easily. They demanded clarity, and when an angel of death demands, few dare deny. Imagine the scene: a towering figure in ceramite, his armor painted in the colors of his chapter, boarding a vessel that even planetary governors fear to approach. The silence of the black ship's crew, the whispered litanies of the Telepathica, the unearthly chill of its psi-shielded corridors, all now observed by eyes that have looked into the eye of terror itself. The symbolism alone was staggering. If the Emperor's own chosen could walk these haunted decks unflinching, could they truly be only engines of death and horror? Citizens began to whisper. Perhaps the black ships were not merely doom, but necessary salvation. This was more than symbolism. The Astartes did not simply watch, they influenced. Some chapters, scholars speak of the Blood Ravens, the Silver Skulls, even detachments of the Ultramarines, demanded accountability for the psykers taken from their recruitment worlds. Others, like the mysterious Grey Knights, forged bonds of trust and mutual purpose with the Telepathica, guarding the black ships against the predations of Chaos Raiders and the depravities of Dark Eldar slavers. Their presence forced a subtle shift, where once the black ships relied entirely on terror to ensure obedience, now they found a strange form of legitimacy in the company of the Emperor's angels. Propaganda across the Imperium followed suit. Imperial pict feeds and cathedral murals began to show Space Marines standing vigil beside the black ships, their massive forms a reassuring counterweight to the terror. Recruitment posters spoke of sacred duty rather than simple sacrifice. The grim harvest of psykers was reframed as an honor, a necessary offering to keep the Astronomicon blazing so that the Imperium's billion worlds could remain united. Citizens still feared, yes, but some began to take a twisted pride in the process, believing that to be chosen was to serve alongside the Emperor himself. Yet the reality within those ships did not soften. Deep in the stasis holds, psykers still writhed in agony, their minds aflame with visions of the warp. The wails still echoed through cold metal corridors where no mortal crewman dared walk without wards and prayers. Even the Astartes, immune to mortal fear, could feel the oppressive psychic weight. Many who walked those halls returned to their chapters changed, more solemn, more aware of the fragility of the Emperor's great design. They spoke rarely of what they saw, but their silence carried its own power. As centuries passed, this uneasy alliance evolved into a tradition. When black ships set out on long and perilous routes through hostile sectors, it became common for Space Marine detachments to provide escort, not merely as bodyguards, but as living symbols of Imperial unity. Even the most rebellious planetary governors hesitated to resist a psyker tithe when a strike cruiser hung in orbit beside a black ship. The Angels of Death had become both sword and shield, ensuring that the black ship's grim work continued unimpeded. In the dark millennium of the 41st century, this relationship has grown ever more critical. The warp storms intensify, the Astronomicon flickers, and the need for psykers increases beyond imagining. Black ships travel with entire battle groups of Astartes at their side, a sight that inspires awe and terror in equal measure. For ordinary citizens, the message is clear. The Emperor's will is absolute, and his chosen warriors stand beside those who carry his psychic burden. But deeper questions remain. Do the Astartes truly approve of what happens in the hidden chambers of those ships? Or do they simply recognize that without the sacrifice of countless psykers, the Imperium itself would collapse into darkness? No mortal knows. The chapters speak little, and the Inquisition less. What is certain is that the presence of the Astartes has forever altered the way the galaxy views the black ships. Where once they were whispered nightmares, now they are grim necessities, sanctified by the shadow of power armor and the silent blessing of the Emperor's angels. So when you gaze up at the night sky and see a star swallowed by a vessel of lightless black, remember this: the black ships are still harbingers of doom. But thanks to the Astartes, they are also something more, a reminder that in the Imperium of man, fear and faith are inseparable, and even salvation wears a suit of ceramite. The Emperor's chosen have walked those haunted halls and returned, not to comfort us, but to ensure that the nightmare continues, for the nightmare is the price of survival. In the end, the black ships remain what they have always been, engines of sacrifice and guardians of mankind's tenuous existence. Yet the echo of booted footsteps, Astartes tread on adamantium decks, has forever changed the story told in hive markets and cathedral plazas. No longer are these vessels mere ghosts in the void. They are the Emperor's silent covenant, witnessed and, in their own way, blessed by his angels of death. And that single truth has reshaped the fear of a galaxy, turning terror into grim acceptance and horror into a faith as unyielding as the armor of a space marine.